Money Radio, discussing the business of making and spending money.
So, warm welcome to you, all of you, our viewers out there. You're welcome to Money Radio. This is a program that keeps you abreast of information, news, and analysis of all the things that happen in the business world in Nigeria. My name is Case Hammond. You're welcome. We're discussing a topic today that says implications as Nigeria to stop importing petrol by June 2023. Implications as Nigeria to stop importing petrol by June 2023. In the studio to discuss that with me is Mr. Anthony Uko, our in-house analyst. So you're welcome.
Thank you.
Yes, it's a pleasure having you again. Over the past decades, and when I say the past decades, we're talking about almost forever, Nigeria has been not having the capacity to refine her fuel 100%. This seems to be a development that is rare, where there is the potential right now to refine fuel at 100%. Coupled with that, we see that the Buhari administration, if you were to ask me, because according to the Petroleum Industry Act, really Nigeria is not supposed to be subsidizing fuel. And with the passage of the act in 2021, I think it was August 16, that should have stopped at least within 6 months. But then when the time came to stop subsidizing fuel, the government, the Buhari government, in its wisdom, decided, no, this thing can't happen now. And they decided to do it 18 months later. And that 18 months later, somehow President Muhammadu Buhari is he's escaping the wrath of Nigerians. Yes, but then it's because probably he sees that there is hope that Nigeria will begin refining her own fuel 100% by that time. And we're talking about the Dangote refinery, which Dangote refinery gives some glimmer of hope that something is about to happen. Having said that, the NNPC boss recently, that is Mele Kyari, in a speech sometime this week said Nigeria is to stop importing oil or fuel, petrol, by June 2023. And every one of us read meaning into that before that time or by that time the Dangote refinery will come on stream. Now, what we are discussing today is the implications of that. What are the economic implications, the social implication, the just implication on the general public? Nigeria to stop importation by 2023 June. What are we to expect?
That pronouncement, it's actually long overdue. I know, in terms of pronouncements, Nigeria has been making such pronouncements have been coming up from the people in authority. Nigeria will stop importing fuel by so time, and this stipulated times have been missed time and again. So now this is another statement that has been made, and while it is good, it's a good principle, because when you look at it, Nigeria is, if not the only crude producing and exporting country that still depends on importation to meet its domestic needs. And this has, over the years become a huge drain on Nigeria's foreign exchange um, earnings. Imagine what it would be if all the um, foreign exchange that is earned from crude exportation was available for manufacturers who need to procure
Implements their their inputs.
implement their inputs, be it raw materials, be it machineries and other things. If it were available, then the scarcity that the country is experiencing now in terms of meeting the demands for legitimate foreign exchange wouldn't be there. And then, because Nigeria produces crude, it's like one of the legacy that this country has. And the successive governments have seen that having to um, having to get Nigerians to pay what is paid internationally for something that we have locally would be it will not really be so good. More so when you look at it from the point that Nigerians are not really enjoying so much benefits of the huge resources that we have, be it all other resources. So the government, in its own wisdom, saw that keeping the price of petrol at a considerably low amount would be maybe a form of benefit to the people, that, oh, this crude, we produce it here, so if you can buy it at a cheaper um, price, it augurs well. It kinds of comes into question the effect of those other price increases that are not that cannot be controlled. But over time, we have seen huge abuse of this subsidizing of petrol products, because it's turned to, um, how will I put it now, a huge um, issue for corruption.
Yes.
Public office holders using it to enrich themselves
A
at the
wide
expense,
drain pipe.
a drain pipe, a huge black hole
Yes.
where the economy's resources have been sunk into, and the country is where it is. So most people have been calling for the removal of the subsidy. So if Nigeria can stop the importation of crude, it means that the having to even subsidize it in the first instance will not be there.
Yeah. As you were speaking, what occurred to me is the fact that figures that we heard in the past, up to 40%, more than 40% of Nigeria's foreign exchange
Yes.
actually goes to the importation of fuel. That is huge. Like you said, this issue that we are having where there is forex scarcity wouldn't be there if,
It wouldn't.
yes. And we'll find out that the country will actually be exporting its crude oil,
Yes.
but probably exporting also its final products,
Yes.
refined products in the form of jet fuel, like we are
Mhm.
having scarcity right now,
Yes.
petrol, that's Americans call it gasoline or
Mm,
fuel,
mm,
diesel, kerosene, and all of those byproducts will be produced here. Nigerian oil, Nigerian final product, petroleum products. And once we have that, all of this foreign exchange issue we're having, and then the subsidy that we are talking about. I want us to talk a little bit about what this subsidy is doing. First of all, not only you, not only me, and not only the public, but also government officials will tell you that they don't know how much Nigeria is consuming daily on fuel. How much fuel do we consume daily? I remember during the tenure of the last president, we were somewhere between 37, 38 million liters per day. Then later on, we started hearing about 50 million liters. Later on, we started hearing about 70 million liters. And at the time, it even went up to 100.
100
So,
million liters.
who is drinking this fuel? There seems to be just no stop. Nothing to bar these brazen criminals that
And
are.
yes, and come to think of it, um, when they're talking about these numbers and the authorities, the of, office holders who are charged with the responsibility of knowing, giving us accurate data
Yeah,
of what we consume, actually do not know it.
you don't know it.
They don't know it. And it's so baffling. And then they will tell you that it is as a result of smuggling that this the petrol gets imported into the country, and some people now smuggle it out of the country to sell in Nigeria's neighboring countries, where the price of petrol is higher, is not subsidized. But I begin to wonder, do you know what it will mean to, okay, let's say Nigeria consumes in the neighborhood of 40 million liters.
Yes.
Let's just, I know before now it was much less than that.
Mhm.
But let's just say, okay, demand has increased for petrol. So it has gotten up to 40 million liters per day. And at the end of the day, what's being imported into the country is put as, let's say, 70 or thereabout. So that means what they're actually trying to make Nigerians believe is that 30 million liters of product is smuggled out of Nigeria
Daily.
daily.
Now,
And then let's even think about it. Where will you load 30 million liters?
Because,
Because
wait, just a
yes.
second, please. Let's just a second. You know, those, what do we call
Those tankers.
Tankers.
The
tankers,
highest of them is 33,000
liters. I want to do a little calculation.
Yes.
We continue. And say, I just want
Yes.
to do a little calculation.
So when the highest the largest tanker that transports this petroleum product is 33,000 liters, and then you're having in the neighborhood of close to 30 million liters being smuggled out per day. How many tankers will that amount to? And then this huge number of tankers will load out the products and leave Nigerian borders on a daily basis, and nobody is apprehended.
I just did a little calculation here, as we can see. What that means is 909, or 910 tankers. 910 tankers on a daily basis. At least 910 tankers will cross the borders of Nigeria,
Of Nigeria,
and enter into
neighboring countries
without anybody.
anybody.
You know, this is just high level corruption. It's really high level.
Are they ghosts?
Yeah, they're not ghosts. Even if you say the borders are porous, or you say we have a wide or a long border with whatever, a wide border with neighboring countries. How many roads lead to these borders? At least if we talk about Benin Republic, we know that there are, I know of this Idi Roko, and I know of Seme.
Yes.
Do you know of any other border?
To Benin Republic.
Yes. I'm not talking about driving a sedan here or a keke or bike.
Right.
We're talking about tankers.
Tankers.
So if you are seeing even up to 4 or 5, I say tankers,
Tankers.
or up to 50 tankers go on those roads daily, would you even ask questions? Where are these going
Where
to?
are they going
Then
to?
if you come to maybe Niger Republic here,
Yes.
Niger Republic, if you go through those borders, how many roads lead to the border? If you say the borders are porous, how many roads lead to those borders? Cameroon, how many roads lead to the Cameroonian border? I know of this one that what's the name of this border? In a link it's not the sea border. I'm talking about this land border between Calabar and Nigeria. I've forgotten it. That one that leads you to Bamenda. Yeah, yeah. That's border there. How many roads actually lead to those borders? And it's like that all over. So you see that these things here are just high level corruption.
Corruption.
It's not that this truck there are tankers going to these borders. It's just that people
are
these are ghost tankers. They just go, and those are ghost tankers. We'll talk about paperwork. Just mere paperwork.
They are mere
The
paperwork.
people are stealing from this country. And when that's not a business. Sorry, we're talking about stealing. Stealing criminals, high level criminals. They are the ones that are making this country dry. And these kind of things can continue because, look, even if you have an elephant here that is killed and you see people, maybe a community should come and cut, no matter how large that elephant is, one day
they'll
by
finish
those little
cutting
cuttings.
it. Yes.
And that's where we are placing Nigeria. We are placing Nigeria at the at the mercy of neighboring countries because there will come a time really the stealing is just too much. The stealing is too much. Stealing is too much. Let's take a short break. You know, we talk about these kind of things here. NEPA, we talk about energy, we talk all these things tend to bring raise your BP. So let's take a short break. When we come back, we'll continue on the topic. Stay tuned, listeners.
For sponsorship and advert placements, please contact 080-3688-6158. Last Word Leadership Podcast Studio. You have the last word.
Money Radio, discussing the business of making and spending money.
Welcome back, viewers. You're still on to Money Radio, and this is Leadership TV. We're discussing a topic that says implications as Nigeria to stop importing petrol by June 2023. And just before we went on that short break, we were talking about how unlikely, if not impossible, it is for Nigeria to be having close to 1,000 tankers cross its borders daily in the name of smuggling. It's not possible. And then let's look at another angle of this thing here. Say 200 million Nigerians, and at the time, of course, we were hearing about 100 million liters going to as consumption, daily consumption. That means every Nigerian, including a baby that is born today, that old man in the village, all of us consume is half liter a day. On what?
And even when we're talking of this 200, all of this 200 million Nigerians don't actually reside in the country.
Okay. So you see, all it really does not make any. It doesn't make sense. The stealing has become senseless. There comes a point where you steal, and it's like you no longer care
You actually no longer care.
who is hurt or whose ox is blood. Nothing.
Yes,
You no longer care about the consequences. You
the
just
same,
steal brazenly
yes,
because you know you won't be caught.
nothing would
Nothing will
will
be
be done.
that
And that's
impunity.
what we've seen, the for this year, the amount for subsidy payment, the budget for subsidy payment was uh, three
3 trillion.
trillion, and then it was raised to 4 trillion.
Mhm.
And as we
So where are we
speak,
now?
they say it's been exhausted.
Mhm.
And then for next year, 6 trillion has been budgeted
Out
and
of how much? 18 trillion,
out of a 19 trillion
19 trillion. Now,
budget.
let's put something into perspective here and say, you know that usually when we talk about budget, we usually have budget deficit. The country really does not generate that much.
Yes.
Those things that must be taken care of in the budget include recurrent expenditure, and that recurrent expenditure we're talking about includes fuel,
Mm.
salaries,
Mm.
of course, the basic running of government,
Yes.
fuel. So when you take out of the 19 trillion, if you take 6 trillion out of it, it's just like a third
Mm.
of
Of
the country's budget
budget.
going into fuel subsidy. What is left for capital projects? That means we continue to borrow, borrow, and you find out that nothing is good. So what is happening is, and we know that these monies are not actually being used to subsidize fuel, not all of it. Much of it, not much. Let me not say much because I don't know the amount, but some of it is actually just being we're subsidizing individuals' pockets,
Yes.
individuals' pockets, which is bad. The country cannot continue like that. Now, having said that, sir, Dangote refinery, when is it likely to come on stream so that we'll see at least an end to this thing?
The last that we've heard is last quarter of 2022, and that is just we are entering the last quarter by next month.
Yes, the last quarter is next month.
And actually, calculations, all of the calculations that are being made surrounding this importation of petrol is hinged on Dangote refinery
Of
coming on
course,
stream.
of course.
Because like the group executive officer of NNPC, Mele Kyari, said on Tuesday, even if the Nigeria's four refineries were to be refining at full capacity, it won't even scratch the surface.
We will scratch
It won't scratch the surface of meeting Nigeria's petrol demand.
Yeah.
And so it means that right now there is nothing on ground that the government is doing to ensure that Nigeria will actually begin to refine
Yeah.
the products that we need. So every hope is hinged on the coming on stream of Dangote refinery, which Mele Kyari said has the capacity of producing 50 million liters of petrol daily, in addition to other products like diesel, like
Jet fuel.
kerosene, and the rest. So with all of this, wouldn't you say that this is another lip service? What happens if the Dangote refinery does not come on stream as expected?
And it wouldn't be the first time. It wouldn't be the first time. This will be the ninth or 10th promise of Dangote refinery coming on stream that we that might be missed. And if we see that, look, let's not kid ourselves here. If a Dangote refinery or something like it, there is this man who is building another refinery in Akwa Ibom State.
Yeah, Boa refinery.
Boa refinery. That one was is expected to come on stream around 2024, at least based on the speech when that project was launched.
Yeah.
Yeah. Boa Samad.
Yes.
Yeah. He
Abdul
made
Samad
Abdul Samad Rabiu.
Rabiu.
Yeah. He made a point that by 2024, if we don't see the postponements like we see with Dangote refinery, that means there should be that addition
Mhm.
to the production of fuel products in the country. However, it is only based on these refineries that we are expecting from the private sector that gives us that hope. And if these things do not happen, let's not kid ourselves. The government coming to power, whoever it is, will not be able to remove this fuel subsidy. Can you imagine the implication? Right now, we are paying 175, between 175 and 190 per liter of fuel.
Yes.
The international price, the landing cost, will take us somewhere around 400 naira per liter. And of course, we know that in some neighboring countries, such as Ghana, it's as high as 600
Yes. Between
equivalent
500,
and
to
600
600
naira per liter.
Yeah.
Imagine buying a Nigerian with this economy as it is right now, and considering the rate of inflation that the
Mhm.
country is currently
Experiencing.
experiencing. Imagine, because once the price of fuel is increased, everything else increases.
Yes, and you
Salaries
notice
do
that
not go up.
And you notice that with the little increase that we've seen in the price of petrol from 165 that it was the official price, now
Yes.
it's gone up to in the neighborhood of 180 and thereabout.
Yes.
And already we have seen increases
Yes.
in price,
Of
not
course.
of transportation, and most of those prices came up as a result of the scarcity
Exactly.
when the prices were when they were buying at maybe 200, 250 or thereabout, or they were having to depend on black markets to get fuel for their um, operations.
Yeah.
But since everything normalized
Those
and there
prices
was
remain
just
up there.
a slight increase, those prices have not returned.
They won't come. They
They've
won't
not
return.
returned.
Mhm.
And we've also seen, as a result of the high inflationary pressure, prices of goods and services
Everything.
have skyrocketed.
Including food.
Of course.
Food is
Of
the
course.
price is going
And,
to
and the average Nigerian is barely able to support a proper 1 square meal
Yes. Yes.
on minimum wage.
On minimum wage. It's what is minimum wage? Minimum wage is around 30,000 naira. A bag of rice is around 39 in some quarters in some parts of the country. So how do you just buy a bag of rice for your family for the month? Nothing else to do with it.
You can't even afford a bag of rice on minimum wage.
You-
Won't you pay transportation costs,
Transportation.
your electricity
Mhm.
bills,
Mhm.
then other necessities? So you cannot even bring out money to buy quarter
Quarter, yes.
bag
A
of
bag
rice
of rice.
from a minimum wage.
Exactly.
So that means that it's a vicious cycle of ant demand.
Yes.
So imagine having to add the pressure
From
of
an increase
well,
in fuel price.
yes,
That inflation. Because that thing may double. The price of everything
it
may
will,
double.
it will,
And that
it
will have social implications because that is recipe for crisis. They can't. So no government is going to do it. No government is going to do it. They are only, um, it's just grandstanding. No government is going to do it. So we can only hope that things will get better with a refinery, any of these private sector driven refineries coming on stream before this government will be able to do anything, or before any government will be able to do anything. Until then, the best they can do is to make sure that they monitor and make sure how much is being
It's being
consumed.
consumed.
Let's get that right. That is the least to do. And once all of that is done, it's just to get the corrupt people out of the way. And once that is done, at least the government will be able to some extent, absorb some of the economic pressure that is bedeviling the country. Sir, there's so much to talk on this issue. We don't have time. So that's how we want to draw the curtain on today's morning radio. Thanks for being here. Thank you to you, our producers, but our biggest thanks go to you who follow us loyally in this program. My name is Case Hammond. Tomorrow there will be another edition of Morning Radio, and that will be the transportation segment of the program. Until then, have a great day and God bless you.
Thank you for watching. For sponsorship and advert placements, please contact 080-3688-6158. Last Word Leadership Podcast Studio. You have the last word.